get some people in here to start our video. This video here is getting into the meat and potatoes. We are getting into the heart of the matter. We digging deep. We getting beneath the surface. Okay. Facing the ugly, the deep, dark, ugly, this nasty thing that's up under all of this gambling action, right? This gambling addiction. We're getting underneath the core to the heart of things, to how you even ended up in this place. And it's caused me to face myself and my own issues and look at what landed me inside of a casino. Okay. I don't want to tell my story yet because my story is drastic, but I will say a lot of deep trauma, depression, sadness, and anxiety, and running from my issues and problems, looking for a way out, trying to escape the feeling is why I ended up at the casino. Okay. So when I was, doing the research that I was doing to put together this video, like it brought me all the way back full circle to why I even stepped foot in the casino in the first place. What even caused me to choose that particular place to escape? Because I was trying to escape. I was trying to run from how I felt about my situation, my life, just overall my mental state. I was running away. I wanted to get away from everything. I needed a place that I could go and just not think about nothing. And the casino, aka gambling, was the perfect escape for me. So today we're talking about 7 dark secrets of how gambling masks emotional trauma. And you can't ignore it. Every person that has gambling addiction, if they dig deep enough, there was something that they were running away from. Now, you might have went hanging out with your friends, going to the casino. It might have started off as very innocent, because it started off with me very innocent. The first time I ever stepped foot in a casino was with my boyfriend when I was 19 years old. And we had a good time. We really did. We had fun. Hello, Abode. What's up? Welcome, everybody, to the room. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the subscribes. I appreciate you guys coming and sharing this space and time with me. Become a Muslim, sister. No, I decided that I'm not going to be converting to any other religions. I'm at the age where I'm happy with where I'm at, but I do appreciate the offer. Hello, Jane. How are you? We're talking about the 7 dark secrets, okay? The 7 dark secrets of how gambling masks emotional trauma. So basically, I had to try to understand what did it mean by the word mask. What it is, you have a psychological mask on, right? And underneath this psychological mask is all the horrible things that you're going through. But the gambling makes you feel like everything's good. When you're gambling, you feel amazing. You're not thinking about any of your problems. So the gambling is a mask. It's a psychological mask. It's not a real mask, like putting some over your face. It's a psychological cover up. It's like you bamboozling yourself. When you're in the middle of gambling addiction, and I'm not talking about just gambling, because there's a difference between gambling, having fun with your friends, having a night out on the town with the guys, hanging out with the girls, drinking, having a good time. That's just gambling. That's just having fun. I'm talking about real hardcore addiction, where you're taking money that you need to be paying bills and things like that and gambling, or you chasing money that you done lost and trying to get it back. Okay, this is strictly for gambling, hardcore addiction. Hello, everybody. Let me show some love to the chat. What's up, Jane? What's up, Uzbekistan? What's up, Andra? What's up, Aaron? How are you? Hello, everybody. Welcome. I hope you guys have liked. I hope you guys have shared, subscribed. I thank you for taking this time out. We getting deep down. We getting deep down in the dirty depths of this nasty thing called gambling addiction, and what gets you so wrapped up in it when you can't get out of it. The cycle, like what envelopes you into this nasty trap of craziness, It's like a pure hell. It's the worst thing. To me, it's just so bad. There's no, like, I never tried any, like, real super crazy drugs. So I don't know what it's like to be on some crazy drug. But I can only imagine, because gambling addiction feels like what, like, when I watch movies about people doing crack, like crack and stuff like that, the way they describe it, the way I felt when I was gambling, I can't even talk, you guys. The way I felt when I was gambling is the way that they describe crack. Now, I'm sure crack might be a way better feeling than gambling, but you got to remember, one thing you must remember, when you gamble, the way the technology is set up, our reward system in our brains, we release dopamine, and dopamine is a very powerful drug. Dopamine is like, you see, the word dope is inside of dopamine, and dope is the slang for drugs. So it's a reason why they call it dope. Dopamine gives you this rush of euphoria. Life is just, it's feeling so good. When a person smokes crack, they have a crazy rush of dopamine that goes into their brain. So when a person gambles, they have a crazy rush of dopamine going into their brain. It's the same thing. The only difference is what is triggering that, what is causing that. Gambling is causing the dopamine release when you gamble, when you win or lose. When a person is taking crack, the act of them, whatever you do when you take crack, because I don't know anything about crack, but whatever they do when they do crack, it sends a rush of dopamine, and it feels so good. And that's why they keep doing it, because they chasing that feeling. Now let's talk about gambling. When you're gambling, even if you just having fun, there's going to get to a point where that dopamine rush got you feeling so good. And you like, I really like this feeling. And you keep playing, right? Even if you win, you are still playing because that dopamine got you. You didn't want a bunch of money, but you still playing because it got you wrapped up in its claws. Let me say hi to some people. Hi, Kyle. You said I've got weed teeth. What does that mean? Okay. Weed teeth? What does that mean? Trip. Hello, Donald Pump. Okay. What in the name of Tom Jones is going on? Oh my goodness. Hello, Aaron. Hello, OBJ. I appreciate you subbing, OBJ. Hello, Syed. I am doing well. Okay. Y'all always crack me up in these comments, I swear. So, I'm talking about the 7 dark secrets of how gambling masks your emotional trauma, the different ways that it's like covering up the horrible things that you are going through. People, like, when you are in the middle of gambling addiction, it's because you're escaping your reality. Gambling has taken a place of what you would normally do to feel good in life. You know, it's you no longer do normal things that people do to go have a good time and feel good. Instead of that, you gamble. Like, instead of going out on dates, going out on the town, spending time with your family, when you have a really severe gambling addiction, now you're replacing all the things that you used to do to have fun and have a good time. You replace that with gambling. Gambling is your happy space. Gambling is how you relax, unwind. Gambling has become your basically feel good thing. It's become your drug of choice. Okay. That's what you need to look at gambling as. It's like a drug of choice, because essentially that's what's happening in your brain. A drug is being released in your brain when you are gambling, okay? It's called dopamine. Dopamine has you feeling so good. It's the same thing when you're in love. When you're in love with somebody, that interaction with that person is causing you to release dopamine. And that's why you feel so good. And so you're like, man, every time I'm around this person, I feel good. It's because they are triggering a dopamine release. It's not even them that you're in love with. It's the feeling that you have when you're around them that you're really in love with. To be honest, it's that dopamine release. If you were to stop releasing dopamine when you were around that person, you wouldn't even like that person. You would be like, I don't like them. I don't even, you know. So that's what the gambling is doing. The gambling is triggering a dopamine release. And so you associate that feel good feeling, which is the dopamine being released, Every time you gamble, it's releasing it. So what are you going to do when you want to feel good? I want to go gamble because I know I'm going to feel good. And that's really what's happening. It's crazy. What's up, Itching to Scratch UK? What's going on? So we're talking about the 7 dark secrets. I keep forgetting the title of the video. Forgive me, you guys. The 7 dark secrets of how gambling masks emotional trauma. When you're in the middle of emotional trauma, whether that be depression, whether it be childhood trauma, whether that be trauma that you're experiencing in a bad relationship, a marriage, any type of trauma, whatever it is, it doesn't feel good. Trauma can have you depressed. It can have you anxious. It could just have you really down and out. Okay. And so when you feel like that, you don't want to feel that way. So you do something about it. A person that has had a taste of gambling and they like, man, I like the way that feel. I like the way it makes me feel. They may develop a gambling addiction because every time they feel sad and depressed because of their trauma or whatever they went through, they go gamble and they feel good. And when they gamble, they forget about all their problems. Gambling can cause you to forget about all your problems because all these different stimuli going on, bells and whistles going off. You got drinks slinging everywhere. You got people, you got party, you got music, the whole environment on top of the fact that you're playing these crazy slot machines. They're going like, you know, everything's just going off the charts. You're looking around, people winning jackpots. Somebody won a big old, jackpot or winning a bunch of money on a crap table. They're loud, they're screaming. It's a crazy thing. All of these things, this entire environment and experience at the casino has got you going like, man, this is great. It's amazing, okay? You go in there, you got your buddies. Now, this is casino gambling I'm talking about. This same thing can be happening when you're playing on your phone, but to a lesser extent. When you're on your phone, all you're doing is sitting there and you got the dopamine thing going on. You still got the dopamine rush going on. It's just you don't have all the extra ambiance going on like how it is in the casino. So it's so easy to get swept up by gambling because it feels so good. And next thing you look up, you ain't got no money. Because you didn't ran from all of your problems, your sadness and your depression, and now you broke. So now you got the depression, the anxiety, the unhealed trauma from childhood or a bad relationship. On top of the fact, now you broke, now you anxious because you need money. You see how horrible it can be? It's a trick. It is a trick. That's all it is. It's a trick. It's a psychological trick to get you to keep going, and you get wrapped up in it. And every dollar you get, you trying to run and chase. You're chasing the feeling that you feel, and you're also chasing your money. So you're not only chasing when you have a gambling addiction. You're not only chasing money or lost money that you lost. Now you're chasing that feeling as well. That's why when you win big, people still go back and end up losing everything that they won because they're chasing the feeling. You might have all the money you need. You might have said, all I need to go in here is win $2,000, and you win the $2,000, and guess what? That addiction to that feeling good. You're like, oh, I don't want to leave. I just got here. I don't want to leave. Next thing you know, you done lost everything you want. And now you digging and spending your own money. And that's what it is. It's like gambling addiction. When you're caught up in a gambling addiction, it's because now you can't separate reality from fantasy, from that whimsical feeling that you feel from the dopamine hit. You can't escape it. And so, hello, I love Roblox. How are you? So now you're living in this whirlwind, and now you're digging really bad ditches in your life. Digging ditches that you need to get yourself out of. So yeah, let's talk about this. So I talked about the chemical escape. I talked about how your brain releases dopamine when you're gambling. You're playing on that machine and you win and you get the bonus and the music is going and you're like, oh, I got the bonus. Oh, okay, cool. Right? Or you play blackjack and you win like a $500 hand, or you win like 10 hands in a row. You're like, oh man, I'm on a roll. All of that is excitement, dopamine rush. You're releasing dopamine. It's a hit. It's a hit of dopamine that you're getting. And so So, gambling triggers dopamine release and temporarily improves mood, and that is creating a deceptive form of emotional relief. That dopamine that you're getting released into your brain when you in the casino or you're on your phone winning, it is a form of an emotional relief. It's relieving you of all your stress. You're feeling good. You're feeling really good. So what are you going to do? If you're feeling good while you're gambling, you're going to keep playing, right? You're not going to stop. Why would you stop if it's making you feel good? But guess what? It's costing you money. And it might cost you your house. It might cost you your job. It might cost you your car. It might cost you your entire lifestyle because you're paying this money basically to feel good and you're trapped. So that's one of the dark secrets. The other dark secret is while all this is going on, while your life is turning upside down and you start to lose money, and now you got to figure out, how am I going to pay my bills? I done lost all of my money. I done lost my entire life savings. I've lost my inheritance. I've lost whatever. Now you're going to feel bad. Now you really need to go. You need to get some serious help now. And a lot of times people don't go get the help they need. Instead of getting the help they need, they go back to the casino to get back on that loop. So what it is it makes you forget about everything. It's tricking you and thinking everything. It makes you think everything is okay when it's not. So that's why we call gambling addiction a psychological mask, because your brain thinks that this is okay because it feels good. Just because something feels good doesn't mean it's good for you. So I don't want to get too deep into the I can't discuss this one part because it's about people ending their life, and I don't want to get flagged on YouTube. So, but that is a hidden thing. People may want to end their life, and so they're in this mess, and they keep gambling until eventually maybe they do, or maybe they don't. Maybe they really do go get the help that they need. So it hides also depression. People that gamble may be very, very, very depressed, but when they gamble, they forget the depression. They're no longer depressed. They feel really good, because they got this dopamine being released into their bloodstream, and, everything's good until they lose all their money, and then they go home and realize, I have nothing. And so then the depression is back online. Very rarely do you see people being depressed while they're gambling. They might be depressed when they get lose a bad hand or something like that. But for the most part, it's almost hard. It's very difficult to be gambling and to be depressed, because the act of gambling is causing you to release that dopamine, which is making you feel good. So I want you guys, if you don't remember anything from this video, I want you to know that when you are participating in gambling and you have an addiction, you basically have an addiction to the dopamine. You love that feeling. You're addicted to that feeling. And you don't care how much money you spend, you like that feeling. Whether you're aware of it, whether it's subconscious, whether you realize it or not, you are addicted to that feeling of gambling. And that's what keeps you gambling, and that's what keeps you in the entire addiction loop. So, it says here, the deception web. Gamblers create elaborate lies and hide their addiction, damaging trust, relationships, while deepening their emotional isolation. So a lot of people, when they find themselves seriously under a heavy, heavy gambling addiction, they lie a lot. They lie about how long they've been out. They lie about where they were. You might be out at 4:00 at night. A lot of times, you married to somebody that have a gambling addiction, or if you have a gambling addiction, you're out at times of the night. I used to do it. I remember my aunt and my grandma were visiting me, and I had just graduated from college. And they were like, where are you going at 12 o'clock at night? I'm like, oh, I'm going to go get some stuff from the store. I came back 3 hours later. My aunt said, why did you lie? I said, I didn't lie. I ended up going to visit a friend. I'm lying about going to visit a friend, knowing good and well I was at the casino. I was at the riverboat shooting dice or playing some blackjack. So yeah, it'll have you lying. It feels that good that it'll have you lying to everybody about what you're doing. Now, let's talk about this childhood trauma link, okay? It says here, many gamblers, like Kelvin's case, I don't know who they were talking about, they use gambling to mask unresolved childhood trauma and abuse. And it doesn't have to be childhood trauma. It can be any type of abuse. It can be domestic abuse. It could be, any type of abuse. Doesn't have to be just childhood. But you're running from the feelings that are associated with this abuse and trauma. And the dopamine is making you feel so good when you gamble. So every time you feel any type of negative emotions, that can send you into a spiral to go gamble because you desperately want to feel good. So you could be having a day where somebody cussed you out, you get into a really bad argument, or you're sitting there feeling really sad because maybe you're looking at some pictures and it reminds you of your childhood trauma. You get into that really, really depressed mode, that can trigger you into gambling. And you're thinking, oh, let me go gamble. Let me go, even though you need to go take that $500 to go pay your bills. Instead, you feel like, I just want to feel better. So I'm going to spend this money and I worry about how I'm going to get it later. If I lose, hopefully I win. But it's like drugs. Man, this is starting to really, 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 it's triggering me just talking about it, guys. It really is triggering me because I remember being, hello, I'm going to say he, because I can't pronounce that. So yeah, it's really taking me back to some very dark places in my life. And I was in a dark place when I started gambling. And I noticed that I started to chase. Once I was feeling good, I was addicted to that feeling. Then I started to chase my money. So imagine having a gambling addiction. You're addicted to that feel-good feeling that you want to just spend your money. And then now you're chasing money that you lost. It's crazy. So we're going to talk about the very last one. This is the false relief pattern. While gambling provides momentary escape, it ultimately worsens underlying emotional issues and creates additional mental health problems. Let's dig into that a little bit. Let's unpack that. You already have emotional issues. If you have a gambling addiction, you already had emotional issues prior to you starting to gamble. Okay? Because it's very difficult for a person that is emotionally stable and everything's good with them emotionally and mentally. It's hard for them to develop a gambling addiction. But it's very easy to develop a gambling addiction if you are suffering from mental and emotional issues. You have a predisposed disadvantage. And it's a very high possibility that if you have mental issues or emotional issues, you're going to end up developing a gambling addiction. Way more likely to develop a gambling addiction. So I urge anybody that has any type of emotional or mental issues, I urge you to stay away from gambling. Truly. Gambling is not a good idea because you're going to get caught up in feeling good. And next thing you know, thank you, NJ. Next thing you know, you're going to be messed up. And so you already had the baggage going into the gambling. Now you got more baggage. Now you got depression about your finances. Now you got stress and anxiety about bills that you need to pay. So you came in with problems. Now you got double the problems. You see how that works? And then that's why people want to end up in their life. So this is the truth. This is the ugly truth. This is why I said banning yourself. Yesterday we talked about banning yourself from the casino. We talked about banning apps. This stuff is temporary. It's training wheels. It's to condition your mind to not want to gamble. Because the more you gamble, the more you want to gamble. The less you gamble, the more you stay away from it and reflect on how it has absolutely destroyed your life and how you don't want to feel crappy again. When you think about how crappy your life is versus how you feel when you gambling, you're like, no, I don't want my life to be crappy. You're like, nah, I'm good. So the longer you stay away from the gambling, the better likelihood that you have a chance of refraining from it. I'm not saying 100% guarantee you're going to stop and it's going to be it. No, it's a process. I've gone 5 years without gambling. And so I just keep remembering how bad I felt. To me, in my life, the feeling I felt after losing everything I lost, It is a way worse. Nothing, the feeling of gambling, the dopamine rush can't feel better than not. It doesn't, it's like, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth that feeling of that rush of dopamine that I get, that joy that I get when I gamble. It's not worth it. So I don't go. Because I'm like, I don't ever want to feel how horrible I felt leaving those casinos with nothing. Not knowing how I'm going to take care of things. It's the worst feeling in the world. Mel says, I got banned for 5 casino. I wasn't winning, but I wasn't losing. Okay. And NJ says, I spoke the truth. Thank you. Mel says, casino doesn't want you to win. They're in the business to make money. The casino is a business, and all businesses are in it to make profits. So, they have programs, they have the hotline, they have all the information available to you if you have a problem. But at the end of the day, and they're going to try to do, sometimes they do what they can to try to help you, but they're in the business. They're not in the business to try to stop you from gambling. They're in the business to keep you gambling. So they're going to offer you their resources, but at the end of the day, hey, you're on your own, you know? So yeah. So those are the 7 dark truths. Gambling addiction is a psychological mask where you feel like when you escape into the gambling, you forget about all your problems. So it's like you don't even have problems. You don't even have depression. You don't have any trauma. It makes you forget about everything as long as you're gambling. But then when the money's gone, guess what? You broke, you ain't got nothing, and you still got the sadness and depression and the trauma that you was running from in the first place. Which means you should have went and got a therapy. You should have went and got some therapy instead of going to the casino looking for an escape. You should have went and got some therapy, got some help. You need support. No matter what, no matter where you are in your gambling recovery journey, you need support. You need support. It is so important. I don't even know how I did it without proper support. I mean, I had people that I talked to, like we would share war stories. Like I would talk to a relative about gambling and how bad it was. So that was a form of therapy, I guess, to a lesser extent. And then I had like a friend where we talk about, our exchange war stories, gambling, all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't real therapy. I didn't get real therapy. I didn't get what I needed. Mine was miraculous. It was by the grace of God that I'm at where I'm at now. And that's it, So I'm a walking miracle. You're looking at a miracle right now. You are looking and talking to a miracle because I don't know how I do know how. Like I said, grace of God. So let's see. Let's look at some, what did you do to get through the first few weeks of not gambling? I've always been the type of person that's always researching new ways to make money. So I was working as a DoorDash driver. So I put all my energy into focusing on trying to make $1,000 a week DoorDashing or Grubhub. You know what I'm saying? So instead of worrying about the casino, I put all my energy into making money and working. Like I worked like crazy. That's all I did. I focused on working. And I would always set a goal of how much I wanted to make each day. So most of the time I was trying to make between $150 to $100 to $200 a day. So I would create a calendar for the whole week. And I would literally put out my schedule each day, how much money I wanted to make. So I was focused on making money in my life. So I wasn't really focused on gambling. As long as you are busy and focused on improving your life, taking control and saying, look, I'm going to make my life better. You're not thinking about gambling. You're thinking about real practical ways that you can change your life, that you can take care of business in your life. You see? So you don't have time to sit up and wonder about, oh, if I can go flip this $100 into whatever. No, instead of worrying about trying to make some fast money or quick money or have a good time, you're focused on taking care of business. And when you're focused on something, all your energy is put there, and that's less time that you have to wander off and start gambling. So that's how I did it. I focused on making money. I got 5 or 6 different platforms on my phone, apps on my phone that I work. I became a workaholic, to answer your question. I became a workaholic. I got knee deep in working. Okay. Now, there were some other things that I was doing as well to keep me focused, because let's say I'm working and everything, right? Let's say I have a bad experience while I'm outdoor dashing. Maybe somebody cussed me out, call me all kind of names, call me whatever. I had a guy, this almost, let me tell you, I had a situation that almost sent me into a spiral. I had several situations. I was doing DoorDash. I had this guy. He went crazy on me and started calling me all these horrible racial slurs. Now, I got sad and I got depressed, but I said, what are you going to do? You still got to work. You still got to make money. I almost went into a depression. I was like, oh, I don't want to do DoorDash anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then guess what? I could have ended up at the casino. But I said, no, you know what? I can do this. I'm not going to let something like that, a little stupid isolated incident, derail me. No, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go out and make my money. Period. It's all about mindset. I have a warrior mindset. I am going to beat all odds. Nothing is going to stop me. It's all about changing your mindset. In my mind, I said, I am going to beat and demolish gambling. I'm not going to let gambling take over me anymore. And that's my mentality. It's like, no, I ain't going to beat this. You know what I used to play? I used to play that song Beat It by Michael Jackson. And I was thinking about gambling when I would listen to that song. So I had all types of different things that I would do. And also, there's this I listen to motivational music. I listen to music that has subliminal messages in it, and they're positive subliminal messages. I'll listen to it all the time when I'm working. And I will also listen to this guy named Eric Thomas. Always listening to somebody speaking some positivity and motivational words in my mind. Like how I'm doing right now, I'll listen to people like me, you know, and that keeps me going. I listen to it all day long until it just becomes a part of who I am. Let me look at some of these. Let's see. So I answered Daniel's question. NJ says, I came back from my 2-week honeymoon in 1990. The first thing I had to do was to go sign a loan for my father. Oh man, I lost $13,000 in 2 weekends. Man, on a football. I had to tell my wife. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, NJ. That's crazy. So your NJ, your father had a gambling addiction. Are you currently in a recovery journey of gambling addiction? Or are you just watching on behalf of somebody else trying to understand what they were going through? Wow. It's so hard to help somebody that has a gambling addiction too, because you don't know if they're going to do the right thing with the money. You almost have to you almost have to basically take over what it is that they need the money for and pay it for them. That's usually what ends up happening. Most people that are suffering from gambling addiction need people to take over their financial affairs because they can't have any money in their possession, you know? So, it's been a long journey, but it's been very rewarding. Like even right now, I just wrote an ebook, on different ways that people can make extra income. I haven't been pushing it on this channel because I don't want to talk about money per se, ways to make money on this channel, because I feel like that's not going to help people. The last thing people need is more money. I mean, they need more money, but they need somebody to manage their money, because it's not going to help them to make money. It's just giving them more money to go gamble. So yeah, anybody have any questions? You guys have any questions? I gotta get to work. I just wanted to get on here, and I've been digging really deep, really, really deep into the motivations and what caused me to start gambling, or what even happens while you're gambling and how it turns into a gambling addiction. It turns into a gambling addiction because you find a place of peace. You find a place of joy and euphoria in it. The drug effect is upon you when you wrapped in this gambling addiction. NJ says 100% he paid it off. Okay, great. In 3 weeks. Okay, great. I got 100%. Wait, but I got 100% the bug. You got the bug? You got the gambling bug, NJ? Thank you so much, NJ. I appreciate that. Oh, a little bit? Okay, you got it a little bit. Okay. But your life, you're not having issues in your everyday. It's not affecting your everyday life. You're able to pay your bills. It's not affecting your relationships. It sounds like it's not doing that. I don't know. I think the more that you hear the truth of what it is, the less you really want to fool with it. Now, if you are a person like, to me, if you go and gamble, you take $300 or $400 and you might chase it by spending like $300 or $400, and you have that money, you have that disposable income set aside to do that. You know, it's not good, but it's not drastic. It's drastic when you taking bill money and money needs to go into another place or needs to go towards a bill. Like if you set aside money to gamble, you don't really have a gambling problem because you literally have saved that money and said, look, this is my gambling fund. I've never been that person. I was always chasing and always taking money I had no business to take. Okay, no, everything is paid, but your wife doesn't like it. Yeah, she doesn't like it because she knows where it can go. She knows where it can lead, but that's good. So it's good you watching this channel because it's going to keep you straight. You need to watch stuff like this if you gamble so it can keep you, Let's see. Daniel says, I got to be honest, it's not easy. Oh my goodness, I'm on day 4. I work early hours, 4 a.m. to noon. And so the rest of the day, I really have nothing else to do. So I want to go gamble. Daniel, you need to get a side hustle. Okay? Get a side hustle. Get a DoorDash gig. You need to find something to do with your time. You got to fill your time up with hobbies. I don't even advocate video games, but to me, video games are a great replacement because I don't know where you are in it. I don't even know if you actually have a gambling addiction or if it's at the brink of a gambling addiction, Daniel. But the thing is, you need to replace the gambling addiction with something else that's going to produce that dopamine. And video games give you that rush that's similar to gambling. It's not the exact same, but it's similar. And to me, when I'm out here door dashing and trying to get these orders, trying to get the highest order, trying to get the biggest order, that's giving me a dopamine rush. So that essentially was replacing the gambling because all the gambling in is hyping you up, is making you feel good. And that's what's keeping you wrapped up in it. Hello, comedy. Daniel says, I'm really glad this channel's here because it's something that no one else really talks about. And I can't find any gambling anonymous meetings. So I'm happy to be in this channel. I'm glad you're here, Daniel. I'm glad I can help and we can create this, community, because I'm here, man. I'm here. Make sure if you can find me on Instagram. On I think on the last video, I have my Instagram on there and I have a Facebook group. I'm trying to build up the Facebook group, but it's a struggle, man. But if you can join the Facebook group, that'd be great. And I'll start posting content and going live on there. Let's see here. Daniel says, NJ says, Daniel, that's what I do. Yep. So yeah, guys, you gotta get you a hobby. Even if you get a hobby where you start collecting stuff and selling stuff on eBay, anything is better than a casino because the casino is gambling can turn into a dangerous thing really, really fast. All it takes is a nasty down streak, a nasty losing streak, and you might have had a bad day and you stay in and you're like, man, I don't want to go home. I don't want to leave right now, even though you're losing, right? And then you keep gambling, you keep going to the ATM, and next thing you know, you keep losing because in the casino, you win a whole lot, but you also lose a whole lot. And let's say you come in there one day and you want a losing streak. And that's the day that you like, man, I don't want to leave. And you keep pulling out money. And then next thing you know, you chasing. And then that's how it starts. That's how it starts. So, man, it's just giving me chills talking about this, man, because this is the life that I live, you guys. It's like, it's so eerie to me. Like, I feel like I'm always taking me back like 10 years ago. It was rough. But I'm glad I'm here for you guys. I'm going to try my hardest to go live every day if I can. probably around the same time. But guys, I gotta get off. It's been a pleasure. I gotta go work. Peace and love. And share this with somebody if you know they have an issue or problem. Anybody in here, if you're not subscribed, you got a gambling issue, or you trying to help somebody, please subscribe, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Peace and God bless, man. Peace.